Everyone. My name is Mike Renick. I'm the senior broker, the team lead with Team Renick Real Estate Services, part of that great Keller Williams on the Water Sarasota family, serving the west coast of Florida. In continuing with our commitment to bring you information that makes a difference in the real estate process, whether you're a buyer or a seller, on Wednesdays, we spend time with real estate attorney Michael Hankin. And let me just give you a little brief information. Mr. Hankin is an attorney with the law firm of Hankin & Hankin. He practices primarily in the area of residential and commercial real estate transactions. He is approved agent for the Chicago Title Insurance Company, the attorney's title insurance fund. He's got a long resume, and the Old Republic Title Insurance Company, and he's been designated as a board certified real estate attorney. This is the highest level of recognition by the Florida Bar. He regularly represents buyers, sellers, and lenders in all aspects of real property transactions. Mr. Hankin grew up in Sarasota, attended Riverview High School, and then went on to Emory University, where he received his Bachelor in Business Administration, and Wake Forest University, where he obtained his Juris Doctorate degree. With all that said, it's our commitment to bring you the best of the best, and I will bring Mr. Hankin in here now. The question today is, I'm asked all the time, how do I calculate my property taxes? And in Florida, because of the exemptions, it's not clear cut. And we're going to ask Mike to address that with us. We'll bring him into the lobby here. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. Doing well. How are you?
Excellent. It's when I forgot to mention the date at the top of the broadcast. It's Wednesday, September 12th. Your kids are back in school. Can you believe the year's going by this fast?
It's amazing. You blink and it's gone. It's hard to believe they're as old as they are and as big as they are.
I liked your comment on Facebook earlier in the week about why the other young man has more points in reading than your son has.
Yeah, he gets his snarkiness a little bit from his mother, but don't tell her I said that.
So, of course, he blamed it on his father, which is you. So I love that. I thought that was a great post on Facebook.
Of course.
So, Michael, I'm confused. We get the question all the time, and it's a fair question from our buyers in terms of what kind of property taxes can they expect. And I know it's not straightforward and clear cut, so we bring in the best of the best, and that's why you're here today to help us.
Sure. Property taxes are very interesting and very varied from area to area. Generally, they range between 1.2% and 2% of the assessed property value, which is the property appraiser's opinion of the value. And then in addition to the value taxes, there's also what's called non-ad valorem, or taxes which are not based upon the property's value. And those are things such as stormwater maintenance and CDD expenses. Today, I want to talk about things that you can do to help adjust your property tax value, and that's property tax exemptions. Hopefully, some people listening to this will realize that they may qualify for one or more exemptions, or may apply for an exemption that they didn't otherwise know they had. So the main exemptions we run into are the homestead exemption, which I'll go over in detail today, the disabled veterans exemption, total and permanent disability exemptions. There's an exemption for disabled first responders, also for widow and widowers, and low-income seniors. So if you qualify for any of those main categories, give us a call. We can talk about the specific exemptions, or call your local property appraiser as well. Certainly they'll be able to talk you through those specific exemptions. The one I want to concentrate more on today is the homestead exemption. And the reason for that is, of course, more people encounter and qualify for the homestead exemption. Now, when talking about the homestead exemption, there's two important dates that you have to keep in mind. One is January 1st, and that's the date that you have to be a resident of that property and own and occupy the property as your permanent residence. And the other important date is March 1st, which is the date that if you haven't applied for your property tax exemption, your homestead exemption, you've lost the chance for that year. So those two dates are important. Now, once you qualify and you apply and you get your homestead exemption, what does that get you? Well, first off, it gets you a $50,000 deduction off the assessed value for all of your ad valorem taxes, other than your school taxes, which only gets a $25,000 value reduction. And but most importantly, you get a limitation on the amount that your taxes can increase each year. By law, once you have your homestead exemption in place, your taxes can't go up by more than 3% or CPI, whichever's lesser, in any given year. So if you've owned your house for a long time, that can really add a lot of savings.
Michael, let me jump in for just a second. So when buyers ask me to try to forecast their taxes, one of the things I think we need to share is when you look at properties out there, and I want to use an example to make sure I fully understood what you said. You can have two very similar homes sitting right next to each other, and yet their property taxes could be significantly different because one was homesteaded many years ago and one was bought and sold maybe 2 years ago, which re-leveled it to that market at that time, and the other one is still under the cap. Do I have that right?
Exactly. That's a great example. So if you're representing a buyer, you can't necessarily just look at what the current taxes are as an estimate of what your taxes will be. Because once you buy that home, that homestead exemption that the seller had falls off, and the property taxes get reassessed at what the current market value is.
And that's pretty much going to be the sale and purchase price. Is that correct?
Generally, yes. There's some discount. So generally, we see it at around 80% of what your actual sales price is. Now, a common misconception is that the property appraiser is just going to take your sales price, whatever it is, and that's the value. What they do is they really take an overall value for the total neighborhood, and they try to come up with a market value. Your sale, if you're a buyer, is hopefully below market, or if you're a seller, is hopefully above market, and may not be an actual indicator of what the true value is. And so there's some adjustments. Generally, it's around 80%.
Okay. So you've proven two things so far. One, this is a complex topic. And two, you're making it easy to understand. So let me thank you midstream.
Absolutely. And what's neat is the property appraisers for at least Sarasota and Manatee County have made it easy. You can actually apply online now. You'll need proof of your residency. So just buying the property and owning it as of January 1st isn't quite enough. You're going to need to change your driver's license, get your vehicles registered down here, change your voter registration. You'll need some other proof other than just owning it that you actually lived here on January 1st. So just another thing to keep in mind. You also, of course, can't rent your homestead. That changes its character as being your homestead. But otherwise, yes, it's very, very complex, and it's a very deep area of law. So if there's questions, I'm a little bit of a tax geek, so I love talking about this stuff. You're welcome to call anytime and ask questions. And, it's important, I think, as well, to keep it in mind, as I mentioned, when you're buying, and to have an agent like you who knows to look for things like that. Because nobody likes a surprise in their taxes, especially if somebody's on a bit of a tighter budget. Reassessment of the taxes can really change their monthly expenses.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, Mike. You mentioned that folks could reach out to you. What is your office phone number?
Sure. I'm at 941, of course, 957-0080.
And your email address?
Is mhankin at Sarasota Law Firm, and that's MHANKIN.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to add? You've done a great job, as you do every week. I'm very, very fortunate that you're willing to invest a little bit of time tackling the tough subject. So thank you. Anything else to add?
I'm happy to always, of course, be a part of this. I think it's a great service. And otherwise, that's it.
And I would like to share one thing in an effort of full transparency. We're always brutally honest with everyone. There was absolutely no coordination with shirt colors today. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
I have 4 hanging in the office, and I just grabbed this one. So, all right, Michael, another great job. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.